Hello everyone and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host Prince Magnum. Welcome to Surviving Romance, and in this episode, husbands, we're going to make one of the finest, most versatile tomato sauces known to mankind. You'll find that it's so versatile that the missus will be asking for it regularly. Alright, the first thing that you need to do is get a pot and your trusty old colander, like I've got right here, and yes, I've had this thing a long time. That colander's very old. And you need two 28-ounce cans of whole tomatoes. Be sure that when you open them up, don't throw out the liquid. Do as you see me doing right here, dumping it through the colander, saving the liquid. We're going to need that later, okay? So don't throw that out. While you're at it, after these are thoroughly drained, make sure that you take your whole canned tomatoes and take them over to the sink and get all the seeds out of them. Just split them open, get the seeds out, because seeds make sauce bitter, okay? So do yourself a favor, get as many of those seeds out, which is exactly why we're not going with diced or pureed or anything like that, okay? It's very important because this way we'll actually be able to get more of the seeds out than if we did it any other way. While you're also doing that, you might also want to go ahead and cut up half a red onion, open up a can of carrots, and make sure that you drain them as thoroughly as you possibly can. Cut up and smash up 4 cloves of garlic. Break out your cold-pressed olive oil and get the tomatoes, the garlic, the carrots, and the onion into a roasting pan like you see in the background, and go ahead and coat them up with the oil in that roasting pan, and go ahead and set your oven to broil, okay? It's very important you do this. We're not just going to throw these items in to blend just willy-nilly, okay? We want these under the broiler. More on that as the video progresses. Now, go ahead for your tomato base, the syrup part of the program, if you will. Get a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, a 1/4 cup of sugar, a teaspoon of dried oregano, and a teaspoon of basil. If you want to up the ante, go ahead and add a teaspoon of red pepper flake, but Princess Faye's stomach's not been at its best. She's been kind of sick, so we had to skip out on the red pepper flake. But for the purposes, if you want something that with a little bit more kick, go ahead and do it. Turn your the burner with the soon-to-be syrup base up to high heat, good smooth boil, because we're going to do a reduction. We want this at a syrup consistency. What should that look like? Well, in the next moment, you're actually going to see what it should look like, and you'll actually be able to see how far we reduced it down. It's important that you do this because this is the real flavor pack, if you will, for the tomato sauce. That's what it should look like, but we're a far cry from done. All total, this whole process will take close to an hour, okay? So if you got nothing to do for an hour, this is definitely, trust me, if you love her, you'll do it, okay? If she's worth it, you'll do it. There you go. All right, now get your veggies under the broiler. Now it's going to take about, basically every 5 minutes, you're going to open it up, you're going to stir like you see me doing right here. It's going to take about 20 minutes total under the broiler, okay? Give or take how good your oven is. Thankfully, my oven's pretty doggone good. Now, why are we doing this? We want to concentrate those flavors. We want to drive off as much moisture as possible, and that's the caramelization process. It concentrates flavors, enhances them. Basically, if we'd have just thrown these ingredients in there uncooked, it'd have been alright, but it wouldn't be nearly as good as what it's going to be at the end of this video. So again, husbands, if she's worth it, you'll do it. Alright? So, another little something that you should also note is I'm leaving the oven door open because ovens have a tendency to cycle on and off, and with a broiler, we don't want to do that. We want a good, consistent cook. So take that into consideration as you're doing this process. Now, when you go to pull it out, please use oven mitts, okay? And you'll kind of see what those veggies look like. Those look pretty doggone good. But now's a great time to go ahead and get our syrup base, okay? And also note, I'm giving it a stir, kind of making sure everything looks the way I want it to. It's not going to look the prettiest, but, you know, just keep an eye on everything. We don't want things to over caramelize or burn, okay? So just kind of keep that all in mind. Give it a good stir. If you're happy with it, you think, you know, things look pretty dried out, I guess you could say, go ahead and kind of let it cool off a little bit, because we are going to be using some sort of a blender on this, and the last thing we want to do is melt the carafe, okay? Or if you're so inclined, you want a more chunky tomato sauce, break out your tomato masher, which you're going to see me do right now, okay? First things first, now that you know that the veggies have cooled off a little bit, go ahead and now would be the great time to add it all together. We're going to dump this right into a pot. Now, again, you heard me mention a potato masher. The potato masher is not just for potatoes, if you will. It's great for mashing up all sorts of amazing things in the kitchen. You know, and you still want that nice chunky, you know, you don't want to go too far, and you know, there's no sense in messing up the blender. Potato mashers are great for this, okay? So it's a very versatile tool in the kitchen, and if you don't have one, you definitely should consider getting one. Do you have to spend a whole lot of money on a really good one? No, a lot of times you can go to a thrift store and usually pick them up for next to nothing, okay? Great way to support local business. And trust me, when it comes time for making those wonderful rustic mashed potatoes, you'll be glad that you picked one up. All right. So now that we've got the veggies mixed together, you'll see me break out that potato masher and just kind of mash everything up. Now, if you're making something like mussels, or you want a nice good chunky sauce for your penne rigata pasta, this is definitely the way to go, okay? More on pastas and this tomato sauce at a later date, if you will. That's another video. What we are going to be doing is we are going to be turning part of this tomato sauce into something else. Okay, we're going to end up reserving about a cup of this, and you'll see how this all comes together soon enough. Okay, so don't get ahead of yourself, folks. What we are going to be doing with this is we're going to, again, if you know how to, if you know how to work it all together, you can add some chilies to it and make your own homemade salsa. Or, like we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking and making homemade cocktail sauce for shrimp cocktail. Okay? Now, I know some of you are saying, Prince Magnum, you live in Missouri. Well, I'm going to show you how to make all this together. And trust me, it was wonderful. Princess Faye enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, you can obviously you can serve this up as an appetizer, or you can serve this as a main course. But again, more on that later. All right. Now, once your tomato sauce with the potato masher is at the consistency that you want, obviously you're only going to be able to take it so far. With that potato masher, you might want to have some sort of a blending device on hand. I have a hand blender, more or less. It's not an electric model. You just kind of turn a crank. It blends things up really nicely. I actually have two of them because it comes with all sorts of other attachments, and I can do all sorts of really cool things with. It's got like a salad spinner and just all sorts of cool things. If you've got the electric model, definitely this would be a great time to break it out and use it for what we're about to do. But if you've got the hand model like me, no fuss, no muss. If you don't have either of those, look into maybe getting one, or just kind of expect a more chunky cocktail sauce. All right. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and do now, because I did mention shrimp cocktail, this is the cooked, deveined, shell off, pre-cooked shrimp. And what I did was I thawed it out, and then once it was thawed out in the original bag, I added lemon juice and lime juice, freshly squeezed, thank you very much, and I let it soak for about a half an hour. And then I'm going to throw it back under the broiler on high and drive off a little bit of the moisture, concentrating it. Be sure you drain off the excess liquid. All right, get out your blending device, whatever it is, and you're going to take a cup to about a cup and a half, depending on your flavor, but I just used a cup. And then I went ahead and got a half a cup or thereabouts of chili sauce, okay? This is the chili sauce that you'll find in the old diners. You could buy this at your local grocery store, local Mega Mart, whatever. This stuff is amazing, okay? It's got kind of a sweet flavor. It goes great on hamburgers. But after I blended up the cup of tomato sauce, I added the half a cup of chili sauce, and then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of prepared horseradish. And we're going to blend that all together, and that'll make one of the finest tasting cocktail sauces for shrimp cocktail that you will ever have. I am not kidding you, folks. Occasionally you see me kind of stop it, scrape down the sides, make sure that I get that smooth consistency. By the way, this cocktail sauce is absolutely Princess Faye's favorite. She won't admit to it, but she'll actually put this on hamburgers. She'll use it for French fries. Basically, if I have the makings to make this stuff, she'll expect me to keep it on hand. Okay, so I'm not kidding you. This is very versatile stuff. As I'm making this video, I'm going to be making more very soon for Princess Faye. She really loves this stuff. Okay, so that's what we're looking for right there. That smooth consistency for our tomato sauce. Okay, now go ahead and add, as you see, I'm adding in the chili sauce. And again, there's no shame in this. Now, when it comes to the prepared horseradish, I didn't say horseradish sauce. I mean the real stuff. You know, the actual, grated up stuff in a jar where you have to dip it out. Again, 3 tablespoons. The original recipe that I got this from calls for 4. Again, Princess Faye has not exactly been feeling her best, so I cut back on that. You can't cut. I would definitely suggest, if you're one that you don't like that extra hotness, go ahead and cut it back to 2 if need be. If you go more than 4, just expect it. It's going to be very, very powerful, so you may not want to do that to yourself unless you like that sort of thing, but, just kind of a heads up, okay? It's very potent stuff. Think of it along the lines of wasabi paste, okay? If you've ever had a mischievous sushi chef, like occasionally I have done to myself, and put a little wasabi, a little too much wasabi on my sushi, you know what it does to the nose, and it's just very pungent. So you may not want to go more than 4 tablespoons, okay? It's just kind of a heads up on that. So there you go. You see me blending it up, and again, this particular cocktail sauce, Princess Faye, again, she will not admit to it, but she really, really likes this stuff. She'll eat it on anything. I'm not kidding you. I've seen her put it on homemade cheeseburgers, and she's dipped French fries in it, and onion rings. She's done it for that. Okay. Now again, with the shrimp that's under the broiler. More or less right now, I'm just driving off the excess moisture. I would really only go at the most 10 minutes. I found that, when you go past that, the meat gets a little too chewy. All right? So, let's plate it up. All right? Husbands, get yourself some little sauce cups like this, okay? I got these at Walmart. They're like $1. They're like $1 a piece, and in some places they're 50 cents a piece. Get them like this, okay? Husbands, presentation whenever you're doing a dinner for 2 goes a long ways. And as you can see, this looks really good. It's really great stuff, and trust me when I say it was well worth doing. Okay, so All right, that brings us to the usual spot. If you like this sort of stuff, be sure to hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button. And be sure to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified every time we upload a brand new video. Also, be sure to check out the people that will be listed at the end of the video as a special thank you for the inspiration behind this video, because Princess Faye and I really enjoyed this. Be sure to check out the Patreon account and donate if you can. It'll be at patreon.com/Prince Magnum. And as usual, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is. Just do something with yourself. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. And as always, for all of you out there, no one out there has told you that they love you. Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.
Man. Wow, man, freaked out.